So let's take a moment to discover and explore some of the tools in Photoshop. In the Tools palette on the left side here, and if you don't have that available on your screen, you can go to Window and click on Tools right here. If it's checked, it should be available. So we've got a number of tools. We've got a Move tool right here, and notice if I hover my mouse cursor over the tool, it shows me the name of the tool, and it gives me a key command in parentheses. So by pressing the V key on my keyboard, I can get to that tool. If I wanted to switch to the rectangular marquee tool, I could press M. So M, pressing V, goes back and forth. So the Move tool allows you to select layers and individual objects and move them around, much like you'd expect. To start off with, I'm going to go ahead and just open up an image that I have ready to play with. So this is an illustration that I created a while back. I'm going to just use the Marquee tool, okay, and that allows me to select certain areas of this image. So I can click and drag with my mouse, let go. And I'm going to go ahead and just copy, and that's Edit, Copy, or Command C on the Mac. And now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to paste this. Now you'll notice when I paste this image in here, it comes in on its own layer in the Layers palette over here. That's something we'll talk more about in a few minutes. But now that I've got this on here, I can actually click it and drag it around with my Move tool. Okay? So that's what the Move tool does. The Marquee tool we've already demonstrated allows you to select. Now I can use my Move tool to move around pieces of this image. Undo that. The Lasso tool is also a selection tool, but it allows you to drag and create any sort of selection that you like. It's a single outline. So very much like the Marquee tool, now I can move this piece around and place it in a different location on my screen. We'll skip through some of these and only use the ones that you might be using in your project. The brush tool is something you're going to use a lot. It allows you to, I'm using a Wacom tablet right now, so it's a pressure sensitive pen. So when I use my brush right now, I get pressure sensitivity the harder I press. And notice at the top up here I have settings for my brush. So the opacity of it, how transparent it is. I can make my brush transparent so that when I paint it's see-through essentially, so I can see through what I've done. Or I can have it 100% opaque. Down at the bottom part here of the tool palette, you can see a color option choice. So this is foreground color and background color. I'm going to click on the foreground color and change to a different color. Now notice when I paint with my brush, I am now painting with that color. The stamp tool, the rubber stamp tool, allows you to make copies of a piece of your image. Like for instance, if I wanted to copy this molecule, this sphere right here, I could hold down my Option key on the keyboard, click here, move over, let go of the Option key, and you see it shows me what it's going to do. So now I'm essentially painting a copy of this image in a different location using a brush. So that's what the stamp tool does. You've of course got an eraser that you can erase with. And one thing to note is any of these tools that you see a caret like this, a little indicator, if you hold down with your mouse, you'll see other tools apply or pop up that you can use. So you can explore these and see what they do. Pencil tool creates a single line versus the brush tool that has more settings, and you can change the settings. So for instance, I could go into my brush and make it a different kind of brush, like let's say a fan brush. And since I'm using a tablet, I can actually paint with this as if it were a real brush. Still have my pressure sensitivity. Change to different sorts of brushes. This tool is kind of interesting. This is a blur tool. If you hold that down, you've got blur, sharpen, and smudge. So blur does just what you would expect. I'm making my cursor bigger by hitting the right and left bracket keys on my keyboard. So you can see that just by drawing over this image with the blur tool, I'm making it blurry. Okay. If I use sharpen, it's going to do just the opposite. It's going to sharpen the image and make it very crisp. The smudge tool will actually push things around and pull them, allows you to smudge things together. So it's more like a smudging wet oil paint. Dodge and burn are Photoshop or photo-derived tools. So dodge allows you to lighten an image. By holding down Option, you can switch to burn, or you can use that. Burn darkens. It's like overexposing, underexposing an image. I'm not going to talk about paths right now or any of these other tools. That's a good brief introduction to some of the tools. So find an image, open it up, and play around with these tools to figure out what they do.